Award-winning British journalist John Sweeney will speak at this weekend's anti-Scientology conference. It's called Scientology Enough is Enough, and it's going to be taking place at Filmbase in Temple Bar. And we're delighted now to welcome John Sweeney to Spin Talk. Hello, John. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
In your work, John, as a journalist, you've covered many wars, you've been at the forefront of some big stories, but one of the most talked about documentaries that you made was back in 2007, Scientology and Me. And one of the big defining moments in that documentary was when you lost your temper at Tommy Davis. Can you take us back to making that documentary and what led to you lashing out?
Oh, it's a... So what we wanted to have a look at the Church of Scientology. We were making a panorama, and the church said, after a lot of shilly-shallying around, that no, they wouldn't give us any access, and no, they wouldn't help us. And we decided to go ahead and make the documentary come hell or high water. And it turned out to be both hell and high water because... the moment I interviewed some people who had been in the church, and they told me that it was a cult that ripped you off. It was a confidence trick and a cult masquerading as a religion. And then I interviewed another man who just filmed them all the time. And while I was filming this guy, actually the first thing they did was they came to our hotel at midnight and condemned us for talking to the people who had said it was a cult. They said they were heretics. And then the next day we were filming a guy who was a critic who'd filmed the church a lot of the time in their base, their kind of mecca in Florida called Clearwater. And Tommy Davis walked into the interview, which was taking place on top of a car park overlooking the church in Florida, and read out this guy's criminal conviction from 10 years ago. Then we were followed. When I say followed, there was a car chase in LA, sinister strangers in two separate cars who were following us, and we filmed it. Then there was a creepy, not just one, but a number of creepy private investigators were following us around in our hotel, staring at us in the car park, on the road. Then the church, in a weird way, opened up, and I got to meet some of the celebrities. Ann Archer, Tommy's mum, who's the lady whose bunny got boiled in Fatal Attraction. And I asked them what people who used to be in the church say, that it's actually about space aliens. It's a space alien cult, specifically, and this will kill you, and it killed me all 7 years ago. Oops, no, I'm still alive. What they secretly believe in, ex-members say, and the church deny it, and the church, by the way, says that I'm psychotic, a liar, and a bigot. They believe that 75 million years ago, a space alien Satan called Lord Zenu came to planet Earth with a bunch of space aliens, blew them up with hydrogen bombs inside volcanoes, and the remains of these dead, pesky space aliens are the causes of all humanity's troubles today. And only Scientology can help you, can clear you of the dead, pesky space aliens. Now, I asked all of these, basically they call it operating level 3. Everybody I was talking to was operating 4, 5, 6, 7. They were all super thetans, superhuman beings in their stuff. They all said, "You're crazy, John. I don't know what you're talking about." It was just maddening. Finally, on the 7th day, they took me to their exhibition, which says that psychiatry is some kind of Nazi pseudoscience. I didn't know where I was. My head hurt. I thought I was being brainwashed, and bang, I lost it. Have you got the clip?
We do indeed, John. Actually, let's remind people, because it's one of those moments where, as a seasoned journalist, you thought that they're not going to rattle John, but they do. Here's what happened.
You should warn your listeners to turn the radio down before it happens. No, listen to me! You are not there at the beginning of that interview! You were not there!
Wow. So, John, you must have really been at the end of your tether, but what interests me is that, a lot of people who aren't religious would think that a lot of religions are all fictitious tales and it's all a load of nonsense. Why Scientologists in particular? What's your problem with them?
Okay, well, so first of all, by the way, I should say, Lauren, that I apologise then and I apologise now. Also, this is a very, very good question. I get asked it all the time. To be honest, let me make a confession. Some men play golf. Some men have model railway sets. My hobby is to annoy the Church of Scientology. and the reason I do it is twofold. First of all, I have met ex-members who had genuinely had their lives wrecked, and their loved ones who are still in the church won't talk to them and disconnect them. And I know people whose grandma won't talk to their grandkids because mum and dad are out, and so grandma, who's still in, won't talk to the grandkids. What kind of religion is it that says to a grandma, you must not talk to your grandchildren because they are inherently evil? It's wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just plain wrong. And secondly, they tried to shut me up, and they ran that clip dozens and dozens of times. I believe John Travolta, along with Tom Cruise, the two great Scientologists, Travolta phoned up the Director General of the BBC, the then guy who was in charge there, tried to get me the sack 8 times. And so what I'm doing when I'm coming to Ireland is simply saying, you tell me to shut up, well, I don't like it. So that's what I'm doing. But there's a specific thing about Scientology. All of the big religions have got their problems. Catholic Church, the paedophile priests, Islam, the crazy jihadis doing terrible things, etc., etc. All of them, Orthodox Judaism, Buddhism, doing terrible things to Muslims on the west coast of Burma. However, to be fair to the big religions, you go into a church and they'll tell you about baby Jesus. A mosque, follow the prophet. A synagogue, marry a nice Jewish girl. Don't eat bacon sandwiches, whatever. You don't, when you go into a church of Scientology, where they won't tell you about the space alien stuff. And that can take you 20 years or maybe €1 million, £1 million to find out about the space alien stuff.
Because what way does it work, John? They do this, is it a personality test? Isn't that how they kind of get you in? And then in order...
By the way, I'll tell you, I've done it. I did it a long time ago when I was at uni, and I failed it. And what they say is, you're messed up. Now, of course I'm messed up because I'm a teenager or whatever it was, 19, 20. Of course I've got problems in my life, but they're not insuperable. So what Scientology does is it kind of mind traps you into thinking that you're uniquely vulnerable and flawed, and Scientology has the answer, and that costs you money. So ex-members say it becomes a fleecing machine where you lose an awful lot of money, and it's dreadful.
Is it a pay-as-you-go religion, John?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And in my book, and the book of the charity commissioners who determine, the ruling authority on religion, there is no such thing as a pay-as-you-go religion. A religion must be open to all and open about what it believes in, what it says. All the big religions are clear, and it's very simple. We all know what they stand for. The Church of Scientology has its own logic bomb inside it. It doesn't tell you that actually they believe in fighting. They're fighting a space alien Satan. By the way, I've been brainwashed by the space alien Satan to tell you this improperly at the wrong time, and I am a servant of Lord Zenu. Ha ha ha. Ha ha.
Is there really, you're in Ireland, you're hosting this conference over the next 2 days. John, is there a big Scientology community here in Ireland?
No, I'm coming to Ireland for the Guinness, but I'll do my thing. I'm doing it on Saturday. But essentially, it's small in Ireland, it's small in Britain, and it's much, much bigger in the States, but I would be surprised whether they can actually claim 30,000 people. I think the internet in particular will be Scientology's Vietnam. However, the point is this, is if your children or your family member gets locked into this thing, it's very, very difficult to leave, and it can be terrifying. So I don't think it's big, but I do think it can be difficult, in particular, for people to leave. My kids are grown up now, 25-ish, whatever. But when my son was, whatever, it's like 7, 8 years ago now, when I lost it, he used to say, Dad, can I borrow some money to go to the pub? And I said, well, I gave you some money the other day to go to the pub. No. And Sam said, no, that's fine, Dad. But I am joining the Church of Scientology. So, here's 20 quid.
Thank you. Well, John, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. If anyone wants to go down to Filmbase in Temple Bar for the Scientology Enough is Enough conference, what time will you be talking at?
Oh, I'm on at 4, but I think there's a whole thing all day, and also on Friday. And the other thing is, if people can't go, then very boringly, I've written a book called Church of Fear, which you'll never find in a shop. But I think you can get it on Amazon. You can print on demand, or you can get it on Kindle. Anyway, it's I like it. The church thinks I'm a bigot, I'm psychotic, I'm a liar. A church blogger has said I'm genuinely evil. People can find out for themselves.
Wow. John Sweeney, writer and broadcaster, a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.